The most dangerous mistake you can make after receiving a PIP may have nothing to do with your performance. It happens in those first few hours when fear starts making decisions for you. You sign a document you don't fully understand, send an angry email, or quit on the spot just to escape the humiliation. Those reactions may bring relief for a few minutes, but they can also cost you your income, your reputation, and your ability to decide what happens next. Because when you've just received a PIP, you still don't know whether it's a genuine opportunity to improve or the first step toward an outcome that was already decided in advance. So don't do anything you can't take back before you understand the full situation. In this video, I'll walk you through 5 things you should do immediately after receiving a PIP, so you can stay in control no matter where the process leads. When the PIP was pushed across the table, Melissa felt the room closing in around her. There was her name, the deadline, and a warning about the consequences. Only one thought remained in her mind: they want me out. Melissa wanted to remind them of all the nights she had worked late and all the projects she had helped save. But another part of her wanted to sign the document, then resign before the company had a chance to fire her. At least, if she quit, she could still say it had been her decision. Because a PIP can make you feel as though it isn't just your job, but your entire professional worth that is being put on trial. Melissa placed her hand on the pen. Then she stopped. She realized she was about to make a major decision, while she was in the worst possible emotional state. So she didn't argue, she didn't accept blame, and she didn't announce that she was quitting. She simply said, "I'd like some time to review the document and make sure I fully understand the expectations." It wasn't a victory, but it was the moment Melissa stopped reacting from fear and started protecting herself. What had just happened has a name: the emergency exit trap. A PIP can make your mind feel like it's trapped inside a burning room. You just want to rush through the nearest door without stopping to ask where it leads. So remember this big idea: don't fight only to keep the job, fight to keep your options. And the first step begins right there in that meeting. Number 1, don't sign away your future in a moment of panic. The first strategy is delay your reaction, not your responsibility. During that first meeting, listen, take notes, and ask whatever questions you need to understand the document. But don't turn that room into a place where you feel pressured to defend your entire career. If you're asked to sign, ask exactly what your signature means. You can calmly say, "Before I sign, I'd like to confirm whether my signature simply acknowledges that I received the document or indicates that I agree with everything in it." Your manager may respond, "It's just a formality. We need your signature today." There's really nothing to think about. You don't need to turn it into a confrontation. Simply ask for clarity and a reasonable amount of time to review the document, if company policy allows. You also don't need to dispute every allegation on the spot. Write down the points you disagree with, then respond after you've reviewed the dates, data, and supporting evidence. Because the goal of that first meeting is not to win. The goal is to avoid giving anything away, simply because you were pressured to respond immediately. You don't need to win the first meeting. You just need to avoid defeating yourself in the first meeting. Number 2, turn the fog into a finish line. Many PIPs include phrases that sound perfectly reasonable: improve communication, demonstrate greater initiative, rebuild trust, become more aligned with team expectations. But those phrases are not goals. They're only interpretations, until someone clearly defines what you must do to meet the expectations. So the second strategy is turn every subjective criticism into a standard that can be verified. After the meeting, Melissa sent a brief email. She asked her manager to confirm what specific results would be considered satisfactory, when would her progress be evaluated, what would satisfactory performance actually look like. If the issue is meeting deadlines, clarify the plate expected on-time completion rate. If the issue is communication, ask which specific behaviors need to change. If the issue is quality, clarify the required standard or the acceptable error rate. If her manager provides clear answers, Melissa now has a finish line to work toward. But they may also say, "We'll know improvement when we see it. You just need to perform better." If that happens, Melissa doesn't argue. She documents what was said and continues asking for a concrete example. Because the only thing you need to know is, what exactly do I need to achieve? Every time you ask for clarity, you're turning criticism into an actionable plan. And if no one can define what success looks like, you've just uncovered an important risk. Because if success cannot be defined, failure can be interpreted any way they want. Number 3, whoever builds the record first controls the story. When the company starts documenting a story about you, the biggest mistake you can make is allowing that story to be written from only one side. The third strategy is document the process that is documenting you. Melissa created her own timeline, not an angry journal, but a neutral, fact-based record. What work was assigned? What was the original deadline? How did the expectations change? What were the results and the feedback? After every meeting, Melissa sent a brief email to summarize today's conversation. My understanding is, then she documented the expectations they had agreed on and the next steps she would take. If inaccurate information appeared, she responded with dates, data, and evidence. No personal attacks. No speculation about motives. Because if Melissa responded with anger, the conversation could quickly shift away from the facts and toward her attitude. But when she responded with specific information, the focus had to return to what had actually happened. Of course, your documentation must comply with company policy and applicable law. Do not transfer customer data, confidential information, or trade secrets to your personal devices. The goal is not to create a weapon for retaliation. The goal is to protect the accuracy of the record when one person's memory is up against an entire organization's documentation. Documentation is not retaliation. It is how you protect the truth before someone else defines it for you. Number 4, work the PIP with one hand, build your exit with the other. This was the hardest step for Melissa's pride to accept. She thought, if I start looking for another job, doesn't that mean I'm admitting they're right? But preparing a backup plan is not an admission of failure. It is career risk management. The fourth strategy is run on 2 tracks at the same time. On the first track, Melissa continued working through the PIP professionally. She completed her assignments, asked for feedback, tracked her progress, and kept her emotions steady. But on the second track, she began building a future that did not depend on her manager's decision. She updated her resume, listed her measurable accomplishments, reconnected with her professional network, reviewed her emergency savings, and explored the job market. She didn't have to decide immediately whether to stay or leave. She simply needed to stop placing her entire future in the hands of an outcome she could not fully control. That preparation changed the way Melissa entered her next review meetings. She felt less afraid, less reactive, and no longer felt that she had to accept every condition just to protect her only source of income. You can take the PIP seriously, while also taking your future seriously. Those two things are not in conflict. Preparing to leave does not mean you have given up. It means you refuse to let one door determine your entire path. Number 5, assess the process that's assessing you. The first 4 steps help you respond more effectively. The 5th helps you answer a deeper question. Are they genuinely giving me a fair chance to succeed? Don't judge that based on one uncomfortable meeting or a manager with a cold communication style. Look at the pattern of behavior. When you meet a requirement, do they acknowledge the result? When you ask for support, are the necessary resources provided? When you do exactly what was agreed upon, does the standard remain the same? Most importantly, pay attention to whether everything you do is being interpreted in a way that supports the same conclusion. If you do more, they say you manage your time poorly. If you ask for clarification, they say you lack initiative. If you make a decision independently, they say you're not collaborative. If every path you take is used to prove the same conclusion, the problem may no longer be that you chose the wrong path. It may be that the conclusion came before the evidence. Clarifying the finish line is only the first step. What matters even more is watching what happens when you actually reach it. Do they acknowledge the result or move the finish line once again? Don't rush to accuse anyone. But don't automatically accept all the blame either. When the structure of the process is no longer consistent, if the PIP appears shortly after you reported misconduct, requested a legally protected right or accommodation, or raised a serious workplace concern, review your company's internal policies carefully and seek appropriate professional advice if necessary. Because at that point, you may no longer be dealing with only a performance issue. You may be protecting your record and your professional future. A process that evaluates you must also be consistent enough to withstand your evaluation of it. Melissa still didn't know whether she would survive the PIP, but the biggest change wasn't the PIP itself. It was the position she now held in relation to it. Melissa no longer saw quitting in anger as the only way to protect her pride, and she no longer viewed keeping the job as the only proof of her worth. Because a PIP is not only a test of performance, it is also a test of ego. Are you building your future or simply trying to escape the pain of rejection? A test of power. Are you dependent on a single outcome or have you created enough room to choose? And a test of identity. Can you honestly examine what needs improvement without allowing a company document to define who you are? When the PIP was first pushed across the table, Melissa thought she had only two choices: fight to prove them wrong or resign to protect her pride. But now, she realized there was a third option. Stay calm long enough to see the entire board. Do what was reasonable, document what happened, and prepare for her next move before someone else made it for her. You are not weak for feeling afraid. You only become vulnerable when you allow fear to choose for you. Sometimes, winning is not about changing the mind of a workplace that has already stopped believing in you. Winning means getting through that chapter without losing your income, your reputation, your mental health, or your belief in yourself. A PIP may determine whether you remain at one company, but it does not have the authority to determine who you are. However, there is something even more dangerous than the PIP itself. A PIP where every possible path leads to the same conclusion. In the next video, we'll break down 3 signs that your PIP may not be designed to help you improve, but to justify a decision that was already made. If you're going through this right now, comment one word, options, and subscribe to You and Me at Work if you want to understand the corporate game deeply enough to protect both your career and yourself. Don't fight only to keep the job. Fight to keep your options. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.